Hey, third graders. All right, so now our next step is to think about different objects that you would measure in grams and things that you would measure in kilograms. Now remember, a gram is only about the weight of a paperclip or a feather. It's really light. So we're going to measure things that are really light using that unit, whereas a kilogram is 1,000 grams. It's a much bigger unit, so we would measure things that are much heavier using kilograms. All right, so I have several things here, and we're going to decide, should I measure it in grams or kilograms? All right, so first thing, the yo-yo that you saw before, right? I can put that on my scale. This is a scale that measures in grams, and my scale says that it is 66 grams. So I would measure this in grams since it's so light. I'm gonna put it right over here. Now, another thing that I would maybe measure in grams would be something small like a book. It's really light, right? It's not very heavy at all. It's easy to carry. So I'm gonna put it on my scale. This time I'm just gonna turn my scale towards me so I can read it. And it says that it is 374 grams. So again, that's not very heavy. It is less than 1,000, so you would measure it in grams. So this book, we would measure in grams. How about something that you can barely even tell when it's in your pocket, right? Lip balm, super light. I'm gonna put it on my scale. It's only 8 grams, right? It's super light. We would measure this in grams. Now, here's another one. What about like a box of cereal? It's fairly big. I mean, it's kind of large, but it's really light. So just because something is maybe a little bit bigger, right? It's bigger than a book, doesn't mean that it's going to be heavy. So we have to think about if something's heavy or not just if it's big. So I'm going to put it on my scale. And my scale says it's 467 grams, which again tells me we're going to measure a box of cereal in grams, not kilograms. Right now, I have some other things over on this other side of my table. So I'm going to measure this rock. Now, this rock, much bigger than the rocks we measured the other day using our balance scale. And this rock, I would not want to carry this around for a long time. I'm going to put it on my scale. And this rock is 3,376 grams. Now, that's a pretty big number just for something like this. So instead of using that thousands number, now I'm going to think of this in kilograms. This would be approximately 3.5 kilograms. So here's 3.5 kilograms right here. Remember, we measure that smaller book, the iFunny book that's still right in your screen. How about this book? Here is a textbook. This is my son's science textbook from middle school, and it's quite a bit heavier. Right? So, and I remember learning before that a kilogram is about the weight of a dictionary or a large book. So I predict that this is right around 1 or 2 kilograms. I'm going to put on my scale, and sure enough, it says that it's just over 2,000 grams. 2,000 grams is the same as 2 kilograms. So this book is about 2 kilograms. So we would measure this in kilograms, not grams, kilograms. How about, I have a couple more things to pose for you. So now that we've seen a few things that we would measure in kilograms, like let's get into the screen, the rock. I have my textbook here, right? Right, so those would be kilograms. What about a pet? So I have a pet here. Let's put the pet into the screen. Now to do this, I have a special little dish that I actually use. All right, so here's my dish I use for my scale. Should we put our pet in? All right, so here I have a pet. Well, how would we measure Mango? What unit? Would we use grams or kilograms? Well, I think of Mango's really light actually. So I'm going to go ahead and put Mango in. Mango is only 13 grams. Mango is really small. Look at Mango peeking out at you. Mango's only 13 grams. So we would measure something small, like a very small animal, a really small animal, in grams. But what about a bigger pet? I have a bigger, whoop, there he goes. There. I have a bigger pet. How about my bigger pet? I'm going to go ahead and grab my bigger pet. Hold on. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. What about my bigger pet? All right, everybody say hi, Striker. Here's my bigger pet. How heavy do you think my bigger pet would be? Would I measure something? I mean, he's a fairly small dog, right? But something bigger, any sort of an animal that's even a cat, even a small dog, even like a squirrel, you would start to measure in kilograms instead of grams. So this dog right here that I have, his name's Striker again, he would be about 11 kilograms. Now, that brings me to, what about you? You're fairly small people. Would we measure you in grams or kilograms? All right, if you said kilograms, you are correct. We would measure people in kilograms. So we would measure how heavy that you are in kilograms. We're gonna measure how heavy, you can look around at the furniture in the background. We would measure all that furniture in kilograms. Okay, so things that are bigger and things that are heavier are going to be measured in kilograms and not in grams. All right, now your job is to try to find things around your house that you would measure in grams and things you would measure in kilograms. You can either, sort it on your table, sort of like what I have. So you could sort it on your table, right? Maybe have a bunch of different things in this pile, and maybe you find some different things in this pile too, and maybe you take a picture of it and you show me, these are things I'd measure in grams, these are things I'd measure in kilograms. Another option for you is to type it to me. So I'll have that as an option in a Google Doc where you can type a list of things that you would measure in grams and a list of things you would measure in kilograms, right? So now you're going to go ahead and look back at the Google assignment. Everything is listed in there, and make sure that you click turn in when you're all done. All right, Striker says bye to you too, and I'll see you later.